Tesla's growth story is over. If you listen to the loudest dummies on social media, the people who have no information, in Europe it has cratered, except that we debunked that last week. It takes time to get a ship to where it's going, and you can't sell the car before it arrives. Well, in China, it's absolute chaos. No, we've got new numbers out of China, and we've got new context for China, for other countries, and of course, we're talking about other countries, might as well get some mark from the Tesla life in before the Canadian trade embargo cuts us off entirely. One of us will have to escape to the other country by hot air balloon under cover of darkness, but which? These questions and so many fewer will be answered today. I'm Brian. Welcome to Futurasa. Oof. I do some good intros, but man, that one, I wasn't sure where it was going. Hey, having fun. So this is great. China Passenger Automobile Association changed the way they report sales. For a long time, it was monthly, and then they went to weekly for years, and now they're back to monthly. And it's fun because the Tesla prognosticators were using those weekly figures to make themselves look really good because they could dial it in every 7 days.
That's right.
And now that it's back to monthly, they've gotten a lot quieter and a lot less accurate. So what we're seeing, I've seen a number of people on social media, on X, saying, hey man, I'm in China. I know people in China. Tesla's done for. But it turns out that's not quite true. Tesla just posted rare growth in China. Here's what sparked the momentum. So this is crazy, right? 10% up over last year.
Exactly. That's like their second best month of 2025.
Correct. Second best of 25. That's right. It's a good sign for Tesla, which has struggled to compete with rivals. Have they struggled? Have they? Because the factory's been running kind of full steam.
Well, there was the issue that, of course, at the beginning of the year, Juniper was ramping up. So guess what? You're not producing as many vehicles in the first quarter, maybe second quarter. So that's an issue. So guess what? You're not playing against what was actually happening last year. You had something new happening.
Yes. Yes. And by the way, I was wrong. CPCA is China Passenger Car Association, I think. So if I said it differently the first time, which I know I did, those comments, you can change them to something more friendly. The gains come after Tesla introduced the new long-range rear-wheel drive variant of its Model Y. And Tesla began selling a longer-range Model 3 sedan and a six-seater YL. So this is all great. But what they are saying is that, do you know China has an EV incentive cliff at the end of this month? Did you know that?
That's right. End of December is their cutoff date, right?
That is right. It's not a cutoff, it's a phase out. So the incentives get slightly less generous. Let me find it here. But this is saying that a lot of car makers are making hay. BYD uniquely did not have a record quarter, but they're still doing quite well. So EVs are eligible for a $2,800 trade-in credit, but gas cars are still getting a rebate too. That's weird.
That's different.
That is different. And the other thing is the sales tax. The sales tax abatement is 10%, but it will drop to 5%. So if you're buying a $35,000 car, you're going to save $1,750 if you buy it this month, and half as much next month. So that ends up being an extra almost $1,000 in addition to the $2,800. So $3,800 you're going to save by buying this month over next month. And this one, the trade-in subsidy may be renewed. We do not know yet. They do not know yet. So you want to gamble on it, or you want to get a car today?
Exactly. Just like in the US, when people were getting close to that buying, that actually pulling the trigger on buying or not buying, if you can make the payment now, why would you risk it? So a lot of extra sales would happen in December before that phase outs, because it's unknown after that, right? You still may be there, still might not be there. You really don't know. Why would you take the risk if you could do it?
That's what a lot of people did. That's what Jan from Tesla Fix did with his Model 3 in Germany. There was a very strong suspicion that the EV credit would go away. He bought. 2 months later, it went away. Other people were left scrambling. So
Yeah.
he had an opportunity to do so leisurely pace. But because I got you here and I've got some Canada questions, Chinese EVs could soon flood into Canada to help its farmers. Now, before you provide context, I'm going to go out on a limb and say, if I'm a man of the soil, this is the tractor I crave. Did I get it right?
Absolutely. There's a tractor attachment for that vehicle. You just slap it on the back and hook up your tilling equipment to the bright yellow tractor.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Okay,
no, that's completely incorrect.
Okay, what's going on?
What has happened is that when Canada imposed a 100% EV tariff for Chinese electric cars to walk in step with the United States, China retaliated to Canada and stopped buying Canadian agricultural exports. So a number of crop farmers stopped getting orders from China, and that affected the agricultural industry here in Canada quite a bit, to the tune of $3.6 billion. So
just in canola.
Yeah.
Well,
so
mostly in canola.
That is something that has hit farmers. Now, with the problem with the auto sector between the America and Canada lately, the tariffs, the one that might shut down and put us in a balloon, apparently, that problem is causing the Canadian government to look at, should we have a 100% tariff on a Chinese car, or should we treat them like other auto manufacturers like Toyota, Honda, GM, Stellantis, Ford? Should they have the same type of rules and regulations? They have to hire so many people, they have to build so many cars to have access to the market. So the government is playing this back and forth, and China has come back and said, listen, if you let us in with those cars, we may be buying your agriculture again. So that's what's going on.
It's difficult to do the buddy thing with the U.S. and have sympathetic tariffs against the country the U.S. Favors least, I guess, in this equation, only for the U.S. to not come through on any of their promises. Hey, let's do this. Let's both raise our hands. 1, 2, 3, go. Oh, I didn't raise my hand. Fun little side note real quick. You remember when we covered this car about a year ago? This is the BYD Dolphin. The Dolphin sells quite well in China. Outside of China, didn't sell quite as well. The Atto 3 sold really well, and then they introduced the Atto 2. So, I don't know. Let's change the name. You know what they changed it to?
What?
Atto 1.
Of course.
Many markets, this is now the Atto. And they're like, well, I like Atto.
Do you really think that's what stopped the sale, was the name of the car?
When Atto 1 debuted in Nepal, it was called a Dolphin. And they're like, we're a landlocked nation high in the mountains. What is this Dolphin you speak of? Well, I don't know if that's quite how the conversation went down, but it sure is in my headcanon. Now, speaking of Canada, this looks interesting.
Exactly.
EV5 to launch in Canada at 44,000, I assume Canadian
dollars. Correct.
So that's like what, 38,000?
Yep.
Ish.
That's going to be a compelling model. And it's only coming to Canada. The US is not getting it. So this is certainly what Kia's been looking at, the sales in Canada of its EV9, a large SUV. And the Canadian market has been asking for a more affordable SUV. And Kia knew the 5 was coming. They told us that last year. And apparently it's going to end up here in 2026.
Amazing. And I would say, interestingly, it starts at 44, goes all the way up to 61 and change for the GT Limited all-wheel drive. I think that's reasonable to have very different trim specs on a single model. I think that's fine. I don't know. I think this has a chance of selling quite well.
You'll notice that they didn't release the size of the battery, the charging speeds. Those things have been locked up and will not be released until early January. So that's coming.
Really? Because this paragraph says it's between 60 and 81 kilowatt hours.
But it did say at the beginning of the article
Ah.
about them not locking it down yet.
I see. So this is a guideline.
Yeah.
81.4 kilowatt hours for something that big is, I don't think, going to get you a whole lot of range, especially if you're in a GT all-wheel drive configuration. But I don't work here, so kind of not my problem. Hey, what is the number one best-selling EV through the first half of 25 in Canada? The brand, not the model.
I'm going to say GM.
Boom. GM is number one through the first half.
And that's really built on the Equinox sales. There's been a lot of Equinox sales in Canada.
I was going to say it's built on the backs of the Equinox and 4 Hummers.
Exactly.
Which, interestingly, equal amounts of battery cells used.
Another interesting one at the beginning, before the Equinox was available, was the Cadillac Lyric. That was very popular here too.
Yeah, the Lyric, the Optic, and of course, the fish stick. GM has led the Canadian EV segment for 3 consecutive quarters. In the second quarter, market share tripled to 23% from 8.1% a year earlier. This increase moved GM from 6th to 1st place. Yeah, there you go. And it's impressive because now, actually, because these are made in Mexico, they're not subject to the U.S. tariff?
Correct.
Oh, bam. That's big.
Yep.
That's big.
So some of the GM products are made outside of the U.S. And since that's the case, we have a free trade with Mexico. So guess what? Vehicles made there avoid all tariffs.
That's big. So on that success, because GM is, of course, the true leader in all these things, you know how they're going to build on the success of that EV boom?
Yeah, I believe it's something different.
Yeah, $500 million on a dyno burner transmission factory in Michigan and a sheet metal plant in Ohio. I think that's in Japan. If you want to know where the priorities lie, sometimes it's better to not look at their latest cars for sale, but where they're investing their money for the future.
That's unfortunate, but we know with policy changes in the US that a lot of the manufacturers are backing off of EVs in many different ways, and GM is one of them.
Very frustrating. So great. Hey, why don't we get on to the questions? Last week we had a video. Tesla still leads while critics shout decline. I did not write that title. But it's working. 4,600 people watched it. So let's get to the Q's and the A's here. How do internets get to my car if it is mobile? You cannot connect the internet tubes to it. And are mandatory comments still mandatory? Well, I'm going to slap a heart on there.
The first one is long cords. That's how they do it. Long cords.
I wondered. Is it like those fiber optic ones you see behind the
drones? Yep.
That's probably it. Yep. All Teslas have a fiber optic cable tracing their entire history. So there we go. We got Eco. I hope that helps. I don't know how it could. Is there any reason FSD couldn't be licensed to an ICE vehicle? F-150, RAV4 FSD would sure massively help populate the roads with safer vehicles.
Is there any reason it can't be licensed? Well, one of the reasons would be that there's not automatic steering and braking and such linked into those cars. You have to have the whole system. You can't just have the camera bases, the actual assisted steering. Some have them, some don't.
But what about the ones that do? Is there an obstacle to putting FSD on a gas-powered car?
It can be done. It could be done.
It could be done. My concern is I don't think your alternator is big enough, and I don't think your battery is big enough. If it's a hybrid, I guess you would have enough juice to keep the computer running. But even Tesla's pulling a couple hundred watts, maybe, where And of course, Waymo's pulling like 500 watts. I think Tesla's maybe at 100, 130. But that kind of wattage puts a serious strain on the vehicle. So I think in theory you could, but I can see they'd probably want to put a different alternator on. They'd probably want to put in a different or secondary battery as a buffer. I don't think they would want the fact that they don't want to do it on their EVs tells me they definitely don't want to do it on their splody juice powered ones. That's my guess. Smack a heart on there. If comments are imperative, what will we see in the press as more and more of us are being driven around quietly and safely by robots? At some point, the dam must burst as it becomes a common experience. Well, if you're asking about the deeply cynical media, I would say they don't need reality to spin their narrative.
No,
You
all
look
they
at
need is advertising dollars. That's it.
you look at Dan O'Dowd. He said, "Watch this Tesla veer into oncoming traffic to dodge leaves." It didn't cross the center line. It did not veer into oncoming traffic. He took the video of Clifford, our friend from the Northwest group, who was almost in a head-on collision with a vehicle passing illegally on a narrow highway at night, where FSD got out of the way and saved him, ripped the mirror off, broke the driver's side glass. Cliff did not get injured. And he said, "See, proof." So, no, that's proof that. So I think the answer is, if you want to spin a negative story, it'll be possible. I mean, we see negative stories about airline safety, and airlines are really safe. That's my thought.
Agreed.
Waiting for our Model Y delivery now. We were watching for that Jeep to release. I see we made the right choice.
I hope you just were waiting for which one came first. I suspect you weren't.
I think he was saying, well, we really want to wait for that Jeep, but it just kept taking longer and longer. So they decided to get the Y. And after they made the decision, the specs came out on the Jeep and they were like, dodged a bullet. Uh-huh. Will questions be mandatory now? Sure. If is not VW and Audi part of the same group, by my calculation, combining models gives the following ranking. Tesla's at number 1, built by GM, which I think would include Honda, Ford, VW, Hyundai, VW just lumping in Audi. It doesn't really change the math all that much, I think.
Doesn't affect it too much.
No. Does someone have a tracker of the legacy media calling the death of automakers versus the actual death of automakers? And the coming years may show an inverse relationship. Well, which automakers have died? Not many. None of the big ones.
Nope. Actually, a lot of them have been called out and they haven't died. So he's right. There is a lot of talk about, even 5 years ago, I remember people calling Stellantis was on its last hurrah. And they're still here. Yeah, and they're still struggling, but they're still here. So
yes, I saw a video about less than 6 months ago, maybe 4 months ago, saying GM will be bankrupt within 2 years. And I thought, 2 years? What are you talking about? And then, of course, they posted huge profits the following quarter, good cash flow. I think their last hurrah may have been overstated. BYD's pushing into all these countries. Big three are leaving countries to go back later. Will there be room for the big three to return to the countries they're pulling out of?
excellent point. Excellent point.
Good one, Joe's.
Because
I'm going to say, yeah.
No. There's going to be no room to come back. They are giving up the position, saying, we'll come back later. The real news is there'll be nothing to come back to.
Yeah, with what? So, we'll bring back the Cadillac because it's luxurious. You think other car makers don't make luxurious cars? Just as luxurious? More luxurious? We'll come back with value cars. You're going to beat BYD and Dongfeng? I don't know which section of the market you imagine. Well, we'll do pickups. India makes pickups now. China makes pickups now. I don't know. It's a really good question. I appreciate that. Should Jeep make a full EV knockoff of the Ford Bronco Raptor and call it a day? Yes, please.
They've got Jeep has got to make their first version of something, get it out, and then iterate based on its performance. We know what their performance is going to be based on the specs that we saw last week. But again, that's their first kick at the can. Everybody's first kick at the can required updates and changes and modifications. Jeep has to do the exact same thing. The problem to this point is they haven't got in the game at all. So they're behind the 8 ball.
So I would counter that by saying, what, you're not going to count the Fiat 500e? No, I'm not.
I'm not.
You're not going to count the Challenger EV or Charger EV? I think it was the Charger EV.
Absolutely not. I'd count the Fiat before I would count the Charger.
Yeah. Unfortunate. What is the state of competition from self-driving semis, such as Aurora? Good and serious, I would say, with the downside being Aurora just makes the automation, not the semi.
Yeah.
So if you've got a 2-company solution versus a 1-company solution, the one company
it's going to be more expensive for sure, because you've got 2 companies looking for profit on each of the systems.
That's my take. And I think that you're going to have, the market is vast. There's room for everyone.
Yeah.
And if autonomy takes over in a big way in the next year, Aurora could be outfitting all those older trucks that still have a lot of life left in them. Because again, especially with a semi truck, it doesn't have to be electric. Those high-powered computers could be run by that fairly large diesel engine in the front, I suspect.
And larger battery packs, which they have, because rigs have those type of extended battery ranges for the cab.
Yes. They've got more of the pieces that are missing. Great question. Thank you. Is it true that? All right. Gonna kind of skip a bit because we are doing great on questions. Joe's got another one. My girlfriend would occasionally say I'm a fanboy. Then I got one, and she says that she understands why I like the car so much. Have you experienced this? My experience is different. My experience, people will say that I'm such a fanboy I can't be rational, or they'll say that I'm clearly an agent of the Chinese government and that I can't be trusted to talk about any cars, let alone Tesla, because I can't be objective. And that's often in the same video. So what I get is not representative. I don't know.
Joe, I had the exact same scenario as you. My wife listened to me on end talking about what this Model 3 was going to be able to do, why we needed to order it. And we got in line, we got the car, and she said after a couple of days of driving it, I know why you were talking so favorably about this car.
Now, would you please stop?
Please shut up.
We're going to be doing 2 more questions. Before we do that, though, I would like to remind you guys to head over to the Tesla Life, check out what Mark, Casey, and Patrick are up to. They do a live show every Wednesday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. I've told them to bring them closer together. They've told me it is not possible, and I think that's ridiculous. So work on it, is what I say. But we got 2 more questions, and then we will say goodbye. These ones I like. The Townies want to know, do you think Tesla will have anything new in the next 4 months, or are we in for a quiet period? Well, I hope to see 2 things. Robots, we're going to see the robots. 4 months, that almost gets us to April 1st for the Roadster, maybe. But I am hoping to see YL in more markets, and I'm hoping to see Standard S and Standard 3 and Y in more markets. Right now, those are only available in the US. They're starting to come to Europe. If those roll out in China, in Australia, those will be big sellers there. So as we go into Q1, which is a historically quiet quarter, we may see those released to keep volumes up. What do you think, Mark?
New markets, definitely. But you're right. It is going to be a little bit quiet when it comes to new models.
Yes. And the last question is Tesla lithium suitable for both iron, LFP, and nickel chemistry batteries, NMC, NCA batteries? Is the lithium that Tesla is refining in Corpus Christi the right kind of lithium for both of those?
I don't know that.
I do. The answer is yes. It is the rock kind, not the liquid salt kind. Yes, it is the right kind of lithium for both of those. Thanks for the question, James. I appreciate it. I'm going to smack a heart on that one real quick. Guys, what do we miss? What do we misunderstand? Leave it into them comments below, and everybody else, stay tuned, stay juicy, and I cannot wait to hear from you clever robots on the flippity flop.
Flippity flop.